negative gearing versus positive gearing 101, and why investing in positive geared asset can help you borrow more money from the bank. So let's say you earn $100,000 per annum. If you invest in a property, which is $10,000 a year negative cash flow, that means your taxable income is now $90,000. Now you can claim back 30% of that loss, which means you get taxed on $93,000. Positive gearing, on the other hand, means if you earn $10,000 positive cash flow, you are now getting taxed on $110,000. Neil, that means I'm going to pay more tax. Correct. And this is a good thing, because if you pay 30% tax on this, means after tax, you come out with $77,000 net after all expenses. If you invest in this property and you pay 30% tax on this, you come out with $65,000 net. This is a $12,000 a year difference for investing in a positive property versus a negatively geared property. Now, the benefit of this is when you go to the bank and you are earning more money, they will lend you more money. When you go to the bank and you are earning less money, they will see that as an issue because you now have to service more loans, and they will say, I'm sorry, you have hit your lending ceiling. You have to come back and either reduce your debt or increase your income, which is what these bad boys do all day, every day. They go up in value while they reduce debt, which means your income increases and you can borrow more money from the bank and accelerate your property journey so much faster. Negative versus positive. If you want to see how this works over a 10 and 20 year period and how you can build wealth twice as fast as everybody else using this exact strategy, stay tuned and I will show you in the next video. Negative gearing versus positive gearing. In this video, I'm going to show you the power of investing in a cash flow positive asset, i.e. a HMO, compared to a typical negatively geared 4x2. And for the purpose of this exercise, we're going to say that both of these properties are in exactly the same street, so they both get exactly the same capital growth. However, one rents out for 3 times more than the other. So follow along. If you invest traditionally in a property, we are expecting to invest for capital growth. And if you own a property for 10 years and it goes up in value 7% every year, it should double in value in 10 years. That takes us from $1 million property to a $2 million property. The problem with this approach is you will always have a debt. And if it's $1 million property, you're probably going to have some equity in there, but let's just say for the purpose of this, it's $1 million debt. All the way through the life cycle of this property, you're going to have $1 million debt. You're never going to pay that debt down because it's got a 4 or 5% yield. Now, the benefit of this is you're building equity. In this scenario here, in 10 years' time, you would build $1 million in equity in that property. Fantastic, you are now a millionaire. However, this is only on paper. You need to access that equity to improve your lifestyle. The only way to access this is 2 ways. Number 1, you sell the property, you pay capital gains tax on that, and you take the profit. Fantastic. But now you don't have the property, that's going up in value. Number 2, you can redraw on that equity, but your holding costs would increase, and your holding costs are your mortgage repayments. The more money you borrow from the bank, the more it costs you in holding costs to hold that property. Now, if you put the exact same street and put a HMO in that street, and you have a 10% gross yield, so that you have principal and interest on your mortgage payments, and you are paying down debt using the additional cash flow, hopefully in 10 years' time, you would be debt free with no mortgage. The benefit of this is you will build wealth twice as fast as everybody else, because in that same time frame, you now have $2 million worth of equity. But Neil, I hear you say, how do I access that equity? Great question. You don't need to, because that equity now generates over $100,000 a year in cash flow after all expenses. Income is the outcome that we're actually chasing with the property portfolio. Capital growth is great, but we want cash flow from a property portfolio to support our lifestyle going into retirement. So this is the benefit of positive versus negative. Quick disclaimer, this is not financial advice. You should speak to an expert who has replaced their income and created extremely lots of wealth. Not a financial advisor who earns $80,000 a year. Positive versus negative.